So Troy, short turnaround from Saturday's win. What's the focus been on in training this week to face Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean the guys have come back obviously energized from a result on the weekend, and I can tell that they're looking forward to having a Wednesday match and just being able to get back at it and use the momentum from the other night to hopefully go and compete at Minnesota. Tough place to go and play, clearly, but we feel really good about how we've performed on the road. Now we need to go and try to have back-to-back results.
Yep. And then with the news of Steven Birnbaum just recently breaking, what are your thoughts on him as a player,
Yeah,
as a person?
yeah, man. I mean, for Steve, there's a lot to say about Steve, and it has to do first with his character as a person. I mean, he's one of the best human beings that I've been around, and I could feel that whenever I was working with Red Bull in the past. You know, in those last 2 seasons, I got to see him and compete against him, and he what he exhibited on the field whenever he was an opponent is something that I admired and said that's someone that I want to work with one day. And for the 4, 5, 6 months that we've been together, everything that I thought he was, he's actually more than that. Honestly, he is a highly competitive person, but at the same time a selfless individual that wants to see DC United achieve the results that are even better both on and off the field than they've been in his career. He's had good results. He's been someone that's lifted or brought this group to the playoffs multiple times, but he wants more than that for the club. And off the field, he's been able to make an impact in the community as well. And he does it from a place of someone that wants to serve the club, and that's what he's done for 11 years. And I said this in a different press release, but he's the exact prototype of what a coach wants to work with. You know, he's the exact type of person. And then certainly his quality as a player has shown every single year that he's been a part of this club, both with our club and the national team. So I really am proud to have been any part of his career. And I'm really excited about what the next steps are for him, because I think that he's going to continue to help this club grow in a different capacity in the future. And I just wish him the best.
Now we'll throw it to Zoom, Matt.
We'll go to Dave Johnson.
Just saying, Troy, with Steven Birnbaum, in terms of your players, their reaction, obviously they've known what's been going on internally, but how can this be a motivating force going forward, or just your thoughts on that, because he is such a part of the fabric of the club?
Yeah, I would say that every player that is in our locker room right now feels a responsibility clearly to bring this club into a better position. And that's something that we set out to do in the beginning of the year, and that's something that we still have as a target to finish the season in the right way. And the dynamic of Steve not being with us to be able to do that on the field, it only increases that responsibility, because now the players also want to do that for him. As he's retiring, they would love to, in 2024, pick up where really he left off in his career. I mean, he always was someone that was pushing the club to go further and further and try to improve every single day. And you can tell from the group that they've been able to process this, you know, over the last few weeks, because we knew that this is something that was a possibility, given where Steve's physical capacity was. And I think the range of emotions that have been there from the players have been, one, processing it and realizing that he's someone that may not be with us anymore, and being sad about that fact, and being, a little bit upset that they can't have that guy on the field with them anymore. But now they've started to generate that energy that I'm talking about, which is, okay, this is a guy that was a catalyst for the club, will continue to be in a different capacity, and we want to reciprocate for him like he's given to us for so many seasons.
And you mentioned emotions. Can you just talk about and I know we've talked about it before, and you use the terms about the fight and the spirit of the club, but I just want you to talk again from your perspective on the emotional fortitude of this club, because it's something like I've never seen. I don't see finger pointing. I don't see, Saturday you get down, and I'm sure I know fans were saying, "Oh, here we go again." But your team doesn't do that. This seems like there's something special going on. Is there any way you can put that into words? At least it seems that way to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this conversation internally a lot within the last probably 4 or 5 days, but certainly in the last couple of weeks as the results have been difficult. My job is to serve the club myself. I talked about how Steve served the club as a player, but that is the primary objective for me is to serve this club and to try to make this club better, right? And bring it to the levels in which I think it's capable of being brought to. And that goes down to an individual basis as well. That's my job. I'm supposed to give. And what I would say is the observation of human behavior and really difficult moments is something that intrigues me. And I've seen many times in situations like this over the course of my career, people go into a self-preservation mode or self-protection mode and then become defensive. I've seen managers do that. And ultimately, that's not going to lead to, a situation being improved. And that's what I'm most proud of the players for is trying to continue to find results that are going to benefit us and trying to find answers to problems that, we're having. And I think if we have that type of mindset, then we can continue to try to make something special, as you said, of 2024, even in a couple months that have been really, really challenging.
And does it touch you? Do you feel like, wow, this group just doesn't quit? This is special. I mean, if I was leading this group, that's what I would be thinking.
Yeah, man. I use that word reciprocate. My job is to give, and what I recognize in this role is that it's not always going to be reciprocated in the same way. I don't have that expectation. But whenever you see the type of energy and the communication between Daho and I, for instance, after he scores 2 goals and some of the feedback that he gives me, is that energizes me, and that motivates me to continue to stay on the path that we're staying on in terms of the values and culture and environment that we want to create. And it's not easy, by the way. It's not that there haven't been hard conversations or disagreements in the last few weeks, but we're still moving in the same direction together, and that's what's important.
Can you give just a health update for Saturday? Because I know Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah, so it looks like everyone's from the match the other night, is going to continue to be available, and Jackson and Christian are continue to make progress. We're going to be smart about how we bring them along because they've only been back in training a few days, but we're trending in a good direction, and I hope that stays the case.
We'll take one last question from Dennis Gomez.
Hey Troy, thank you for your time. I know you mentioned previously you're a big Liverpool fan, and you had the chance to face Stevie G and Brendan Rodgers. Who is your biggest encouragement as a coach, or who has been your biggest influence in your coaching career?
That's a big question. I am an unapologetic Liverpool fan. I grew up that way, and by the way, that was in like the Michael Owen days, and 97, 98, 99, and Liverpool was not what they've been under Klopp the last 7-8 seasons. And I certainly enjoyed those sides that Brendan Rodgers coached, and that'll be fun on Saturday to be able to meet him. As you mentioned, I was able to meet Steven Gerrard, and he was a class act whenever we played them in preseason. I'd probably go to a different profile of someone that's influenced me, and it's all the managers that I've worked for. That's Coach Ralph Lundy, Coach Kevin Heisey, Mike Anhauser, Mike Jeffries. These are guys that I learned a ton from in my coaching career and helped elevate me from an assistant to a head coach. So those are not your household names like Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, but those are the ones that had the biggest influence on me and saw something in me as a coach. So those are the names that come to mind.
Awesome. And just a quick follow-up. Heading into tomorrow's game, how do you balance praise and criticism to maintain the player morale and performance after getting a big win, but knowing that you need a few more points to make it to the playoff?
Yeah, it's trying to make sure the same way that I wasn't over the top whenever the results weren't going our way. I'm not going to be that way whenever we get a great result like we did on the weekend. We have to try to stay balanced and get back to work, and that's what we've done the last 72 hours. And Wednesday, tomorrow night, we're going to have to work extremely hard to get anything out of that game at Minnesota.